You know, I've been asked about 9/11 a lot. The bombing of the World Trade Center and the Pentagon. What happened then was certainly a national disaster and a catastrophe, and I hated watching that. I mean, it tore my heart out. The bottom line is I'm not going to say that I know what happened, because I don't. But what I do know is the report from the federal government is not true. And I want, more than anything, I want to call right now for an independent investigation so that we get to the bottom of it. Not another government investigation or whitewash, an independent investigation of what happened at September 11th, 2001. And I'm volunteering to be part of that. Hemp has about 2,000 domestic uses, from oil to paper to fuel. Fuel. You make fuel out of hemp. Hemp was made illegal when they made marijuana illegal. Hemp has no THC in it. It's not narcotic. And it could literally save the economy of this country. And if government officials are so concerned about global warming, then why not harvest hemp? Hemp could solve half of those problems that they're crying about all the time. Plus, the medical use of marijuana is something that absolutely should be explored. And for everybody to say, in government and police alike, oh, people just want to smoke marijuana because it's fun, or they want to get high on it. I know people who that absolutely is not true about. And if somebody's dying, then what do you care if they smoke marijuana? It's not going to hurt you, and if it makes them feel better, then more power to them. And there's one thing that the Democrats and Republicans seemingly have not understood, and that is, why don't you just leave people alone and live and let live? I don't support any of that. I don't support the drug war. After I served as an undercover narcotics officer, I started questioning the drug war. And right after the IRS, the war on drugs is the second biggest farce this country has ever come up with. So I agree with Ron Paul on almost every issue that I've ever heard him talk about. And I really had a V8 moment where when I heard Ron Paul, I did that. I go, gosh, he's so right. Why didn't I think of that? When he said, I would abolish the IRS and the federal income tax and replace them with nothing, okay? Because if the federal government and Congress stayed within their proper parameters, they wouldn't need all this money. They wouldn't need all this money to pay for all their corruption. And we're literally paying for our own demise. And we need to stop funding the criminal who's coming after us. One thing I wanted to say about the book is that every citizen should read this because your employee needs to know about it. And your employee that we're talking about here is the sheriff, but anybody else, the deputies, when you get this book, you should always get at least one or two others. Keep one for yourself and give one to your favorite deputy or your uncle that's a police officer or your sheriff. Take it to your sheriff and make sure he understands what you and your neighbors really want him to do. It all boils down to this. Sheriff, will you stand against tyranny? Can you imagine any sheriff saying no? No, tyranny's not my job. Standing against tyranny is not my job. How bad do things have to get in this country before your sheriff says enough is enough? The monster's knocking on the door. The monster of despotism and tyranny are destroying our country. And if there was ever a time in our country's history that we should be standing against tyranny, it's now. Sheriff, I'm asking you, will you do it? If you don't, the fate of our country is in that decision. If you stand and fight against tyranny, we win. Your citizens are protected and America continues. If you do not, America dies. Read the book and see where you can restore freedom and liberty in your county and keep the federal government in Washington, D.C. where they belong.